All right, we're good.
All right. Hello, Bronco country. Boy, that was a tough one to take. I did not expect that. So anybody out there, we want to hear your thoughts, your comments. What's this mean for the Denver Broncos going forward? What's this mean for Drew Lock? What's this mean for this coaching staff? Everything. I mean, Matt, I'm gonna let you go on your little rant.
Okay. So I'm probably just as pissed as about everyone else is right now. I'm going to try to remain as professional as I can without letting my emotions get the best of me. We saw a couple things today, guys. We saw just a lack of coaching. We just saw an unwillingness to change. I don't understand what happened, and in my honest opinion, it just the Broncos players' emotions, they signified something to me. It showed me something. Today it showed me that this team does not have faith in Drew Lock. They don't want Drew as their quarterback. You don't have this massive of a change for just the hell for the hell of it. You just don't. We seen an offensive game plan that played into Drew Lock's strengths last week. We seen him build fluidity. We seen him get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then this week we've tossed it in the trash. All of Drew Lock's check down plays was because he had no one else to throw to. This wasn't the same game plan where we've seen a scheme built for the check down, built for the short routes. Drew Lock was hitting them because there was no other options. You seen it. And, if this wasn't a call for management, I don't know what else is, because coaches want to win. Coaches want to see their players thrive. We seen the game plan. We seen Pat Shurmur build that game plan last week and it be successful. Coaches don't throw their game plans out for no reason. I don't know. Are we seeing? Is this Gangarello 2.0? Did Elway come down and said, "What the heck was this? Where's my West Coast offense?"
Right.
I don't know.
Because I don't know either, Matt, and I'm as befuddled as you are. Why do you go away from something that worked? It's not like the Bills' defense is that superior, where they just shut down everything we had. We abandoned what we did last week.
We abandoned what we did prior to that week. We went back to what we did the first 6 weeks of the season.
Right.
We went back. We got rid of the tight sets. We didn't have two tight ends on the field hardly at all. Whether it was with your 12 or 13, whether you had them both on the off tackle, or if you had one in the backfield, one we just didn't even utilize two tight ends. It was just gone. Just everything that we've done that was somewhat helping Drew Lock was completely tossed in the trash.
Yep.
Today, what I seen a coaching staff be told that no, we seen what he's got. That's not the system where we want to run. This is Elway throwing that West Coast, forcing it down our throats again. Drew can't run the West Coast offense effectively. We didn't even see him line up in shotgun and do the rollout play at all that we seen last week.
Answer me this. So if Drew Lock can't run a West Coast offense, why the hell did Elway draft him? When the year before we had the guy who just torched us sitting there at number 5, and he picked a linebacker we didn't need. I mean, when is somebody going to hold that clown accountable for what he's doing?
I mean, it comes down to he got infatuated with the thought that Drew Lock has the fundamental tools to be successful, but he does not have the mental part. He doesn't have the knowledge of a system like this to where he could run it efficiently. He has all the physical traits. He's quick enough to do the bootleg. He has good play action skills. He has a strong arm. Three really good things that you need for that West Coast offense. But he can't put it together. We seen him struggle with it when Skanks first brought it out. Scangarello modified the very first game. He seen that Drew was struggling with this West Coast offense. It wasn't working for him last season. They moved it, and then Scangarello ended up being the scapegoat for a losing season. Well, bring in Shurmur. Shurmur's doing the same thing. Okay, we'll run this West Coast. We fail. Okay, well, now we're going to bring in tight ends. We could still run your West Coast offense that way, but we're going to have two tight ends line up tight and stay nice and help him with taking some of the pressure off the tackles and giving him a little bit more time to become fluid. That was our hope. He did. He showed a little bit of progress there. I mean, we still seen poor footwork, and by no means is Locke. His play didn't really blow anyone away today. Even but we seen them make a change, and we still in it. And then you know what? Last week, Shermer said, "You know what? Let's try something new. It worked, and now we abandon it. It doesn't make any sense to me unless it had to be either a coaching or management decision to defer from that playbook."
I'm telling you, Elway called the code red.
I just cannot come up with a logical reason to why Pat Shermer wouldn't do it. And if he, maybe he wanted to come out 3 wide and try it, and it wasn't working. Yeah, I mean, at first it looked okay. Locke looked a little comfortable in the first half, but at the same time, he was doing what he was told to do last week. He was hitting the running backs in the check down because there was no other option. So we were able to continue to kind of build momentum that way. But as soon as we seen it wasn't working, why didn't Shermer go back to what was? Right. There had to be some conversation. And if you're Vic Fangio, and let's say this is all on Pat Shermer. Pat Shermer is just like being stubborn and doesn't want to change. Well, damn it, Vic, where's your remember the Titans moment? You remember with Denzel Washington
right.
What does he say? He tells his offense. He says he tells his offensive. Sorry, Denzel Washington tells Bill Yost, the defensive coordinator, not another yard or I'm taking over. Where's that moment for Vic? What the hell is this offense? We can't even gain a yard. I'm taking over something.
Right.
There's no fire from Vic on the sideline.
No, there is not. I mean, well, gee whiz. Come on. He can't elevate his blood pressure too high. Come on.
You see him just
let's look at this question here by P. Burke. Do we draft a QB with our first pick?
No.
Or we're not going to let Locke grow another year.
No, I don't think so.
So what are we doing? Are we going to chase Matt Stafford?
Oh, I think that has become the front runner situation for the Denver Broncos. I think today made it official. And I think the reason why we've seen these players playing so emotional is because we've seen management turn on Drew Lock today.
Yeah, and I think it has. And I think the coaching staff has too, because they did not stand up for Drew Lock.
Something has changed. We see guys play emotional and a little undisciplined and get out of line at times. But this guy says our defense is banged up. Sure, it is, but it wasn't the yardage part that was killing us. It was the mental mistakes from our guys that have been solid all year. Josie Jewell has been solid all year and dropping in the zone, but yet we seen him leave base 4 times today. We seen Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons both leave home on zone coverage plays. We don't ever see that. Ojemudia, granted, it was kind of a soft punching a dude in the face this week. Right. Shelby Harris and Bradley Chubb getting into almost a physical altercation in the first half. There is something significantly wrong here.
There is something wrong with this team. The coaching staff has lost the players. Something happened between the Carolina game and today.
Something's changed drastically.
And it's not McManus being out either.
No.
So, but can you blame the O-line? Me and you talked about it during the game. The right side of the line does not work together. Glasgow and Wilkinson do not work together. They're like oil and vinegar, or oil and water. Those two do not mix. And if the coaching staff can't see that, especially after the way the offensive line played last week, when I think Carolina has a more dominant front line than Buffalo does.
Yeah, they're solid in the front 7. I mean, Buffalo, and by no means is any joke. They're pretty
right. I'm not saying they're a joke.
I would say they're pretty evenly matched, and we handled it a lot better last week because of the game plan. We seen guards pulling. We didn't even see a guard pull today.
No,
we did not even see. We seen one screenplay try it, and it was with Graham Glasgow, the guy who's probably our slowest and most unathletic, like the least athletic offensive lineman we have, be the one we're running the play with. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Graham Glasgow, Moody's he outplayed you in one game. You looked awful today. Mm-hmm. You were getting bullied back. You had no fluidity. You had no push. You were making mental mistakes left and right. I
last
don't know.
week, last week I saw one mental mistake from that offensive line, and that's when Cush left his area.
Yeah,
and Locke almost got killed. But today there were mistakes everywhere, all over the place. I mean, and I'm not going to stop at just the offensive line. Players missing their assignments on that last screenplay. Where's Noah Fant? Dude, you're supposed to be there. You're there. That ball falls in your lap, and you probably run for 10 or 15 yards. But you're nowhere to be found.
it was just
I
rough.
mean, Jerry Jeudy is I understand why Locke goes away from him. He has to have no confidence in him. The guy drops balls. I think he gives up on his routes too easily. He's just making a lot of mistakes that you normally, someone like him who came out of Alabama that this guy's supposed to be the top wide receiver in the country, his senior year, and he comes in here like this, and he's being outplayed by a handful of rookie wide receivers across the league.
But part of it is, what does he see the lack of coaching? Does he see the lack of discipline? Does he see all of that? Does it make him? Does it make him feel that he trusts this? Does he not trust his coordinator? Does he not trust the system to put him in a spot to succeed? We've already seen him express his frustrations, and then we've seen when we actually utilized him correctly, we utilized Locke correctly. We played into Locke's weaknesses last week. We were confident enough to say I even came off of my Locke flogging for a little while. I mean, I still saw poor footwork, but I saw with that scheme, taking the pressure off of Drew to have to make those tough decisions, to make these clean decisions, to open up windows for him when you start with all those checkdowns and creative, at line of scrimmage plays.
And I don't even think you can Locke flog today. He made a couple of bad decisions, and every quarterback does that during the course of a game. But gee whiz, the game plan that they threw out there was just unreal. Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, yeah, sure, there was some crappy play. You could say, sure, we didn't play as well as we should have.
Right.
On any side of the ball, there was mistakes, but it just seemed like there was a shift. Even on the touchdowns that we scored, the emotion wasn't there.
So
it wasn't fired up that we just rushed down the field. There was a little bit of, high fives, but nothing compared to what we've seen last week. Nothing.
No, it was night and day.
I just am baffled. But
so I'm going to ask this question: Is this the right coaching staff?
No.
You can't keep a coaching staff around just for the sake of keeping a coaching staff around, especially if you're going to go through a change where you're going to bring in a whole new quarterback and everything else.
This is where it becomes difficult because I don't think Elway should be here next year.
I don't either. At the end of this season, if I were Joe Ellis, I would walk down there at the end of the season. I would let Elway go, and I'd fire the entire coaching staff. And I would get somebody in here who could possibly, work with Locke. Give him one more year next year. Bring in somebody who can work with him.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know that that's not going to be the case.
We know it's not.
And no. And could this
coach? Joe Ellis doesn't have the balls to do it. I'm sorry for the language.
Could this coaching staff be more effective with better management? I would be willing to go out on a limb here and say, yeah, it would be. I think they could be better than what they are. I think they're told that they have to do it this way. I think they're told that this is the scheme that we're going to run. We're not going to defer for it. Elway's not the type of GM where he doesn't draft players to build around them. He drafts players to force them into what he wants to build.
I think the players have lost all faith in this coaching staff. So bringing this coaching staff back next year and having a different GM, I don't think would fix the problem.
Oh, no.
It's just like you say, we got players on the sideline, ready to go blows. And does a coach even come over and try to step in and de-escalate the situation? No. Where's our coaching staff at?
The whole thing is just we're a dumpster fire right now. And I think
we are.
This isn't us being bashing the Broncos, but the team's on fire and no one's screaming for help.
Right.
No one's trying to put the fire out.
And the bad thing, and I can understand, we've had a rash of injuries, that would probably decimate most teams. But we're such a young team, I think we have talent on this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And when you're out your top three cornerbacks, and now you got your makeshift defense, you bring in a guy who's a safety and you try to throw him in the slot, you're just asking for problems.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it though is, we could argue that logic, but yet we seen it be effective last week when we were using the right scheme.
I agree.
We completely abandoned it today. I'm gonna even take the locks are coming out because my hair,
Oh
my
man,
hat.
he's letting his hair down and everything.
I gotta let the locks out because I feel bad for Lock right now.
Yeah.
I was locking it for Lock last week or on Wednesday because I was, hyped a little bit for, his performance. And today it wasn't that it was a terrible performance. He did he did his best with what he was given.
Right.
I mean, there was still, I could harp on the mechanics. I can harp on the footwork all I want, but the dude's getting beat up enough. I mean,
when the guy has to run for his life and bail out and everything else, it's
and part of that though, this is where it comes down to it. So the scheme failed Drew Lock today, but Drew Lock failed himself in a sense too, because it's at the point to where we should have seen the progress to be able to run that 3 wide set. He should be able to identify where the pressure's coming from, identify the hot rep. He struggled immensely with it today. We've seen it, but he made the right decision by hitting his check down over and over
right.
again. That's where we've seen the growth. But he should, Locke is at fault for some of it. He should be able to run this system by now. It doesn't mean that we have to have 250 yards passing,
right.
but we should be able to hit a receiver at more than 10 yards occasionally.
Right.
We can't do it. He can't do it, and he just doesn't have the skill set. He has the physical skill set, but he lacks the mental side of it. He can't make the reads. He struggles. So that's why, as a good coach, you don't do it. You stay away from it. You learn your players. We did it last week. Why aren't we doing it now?
And he hit the percentage of passes we want him to be in. We want him to be in that, 65 to 70% range. He hit 67% today.
Did he break 150?
No, he did not. 132 yards. His average was 4.1 yards, and that's the problem right there. They're calling these plays. And I don't even think they're giving him the option. And I think Locke's been told you do what's called. You don't have the freedom to audible out or change plays, or you do what's called. And I think they just removed the entire deep ball. And you said it at the halftime show. They knew we were just going to throw check downs. They just sat back there. They knew we weren't going to go deep. So,
well, the thing about it is they knew that when we were lining up at 3 wides, there's only 2 options. Locke's going to be forced to throw into a tight window, which he hasn't been able to do all season. He gets lucky on, I'll say it this: 7 out of 10 passes are inaccurate for Drew. That's just the reality of what it is right now. That's because of the base. That's because of the poor base. It's because of the poor footwork. That's why this 3 wide receiver set wasn't working. So they knew, okay, well, we're going to have safeties over the top. We're going to play our man coverage. We're going to have everyone covered. The only option left, you drop your linebackers 5-10 yards, whatever it is. Let them hit the check down. We'll give it to you all day. We're a good tackling team.
Right.
Go ahead. What we wanted Denver to do to Buffalo with let them have the field. Let them have the yards. Inadvertently, that's what Buffalo did to us. Take that short catch where you're the only one. You have no blockers. There's no scheme to protect you, and we're just going to tackle you. That's what happened. We forced Locke into a situation that we knew if you and I talked about it immensely. that he cannot be successful. He cannot be relied to have to throw the deep ball, or that if anything past 10 yards is where he struggles. He has the ability to do it. He has the strength to do it, but the fundamentals and the footwork doesn't allow him to have the accuracy to be successful in that 3 wide deep post kind of routes. The 15 and in, it doesn't work. They took it away from us. He just doesn't have the skills to do it, and our offensive coordinator took away the only game plan that gave us a chance.
Yeah.
And my question is why? That's all I want to know is why.
So, I mean, what do you see for? We got 2 games left. We got the Raiders, and then we have the Chargers, or Chargers and then Raiders. I'm sorry. So, what do you see? I mean,
I think we see. What? I think we see more
of the same.
Yeah, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see either we're wrong and we're being too harsh on Elway, or this is Elway's message to Locke. Prove to me you can run my system, or you're not worth my time. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the ball is in Locke's court and it's on him to thrive, but it doesn't feel that way. We found a system that works. If you were built on being successful, you would play into what's working, not what you want to see. We heard it all game today. Mm-hmm. Sean McDermott and Dabble, or however you say his name, the offensive coordinator for Buffalo, they said it all game. They credited Brian Dabble for his ability to maneuver and change his scheme to fit Josh Allen's strengths and avoid his weaknesses. We heard it all game long. That is what a good coach does. That's why Brian Dabble's being highly recommended for head coaching jobs this next upcoming season, because he showed that he has the willingness to change his mindset and to play into the players that he has available to him, play into their strengths. We haven't had that. We haven't. You could even argue that all the way back to the 2015 Super Bowl team. We have not done that. Elway did Manning did what he wanted to do in 2012 to 15.
Right.
After that, it was over.
He's Peyton Manning, you know.
He can run any system except for the RPO.
So, I had a question, and I just drew a blank.
And then Russolini, what the hell, man? I'm just kidding.
Oh, what I was going to ask, yeah. Where'd they find this guy, man? Somebody buy him a one-way ticket back to Shanghai. Jeez. Well, if McManus can miss 2 extra points, I guess he can, right?
Yeah, I mean, his surprisingly his little pooch kick for the onside recovery wasn't
terrible. That was
wasn't terrible. Yeah, he wasn't that bad. I mean, it was his first game. I'll cut him a break.
Right. So what I was going to say, our last 4 years have been under defensive-minded head coaches. Is it time to change?
It has been for 4 years.
Right, that's what I said.
No. 4 years ago, we should have implemented an offensive-minded head coach.
Right.
We've seen it be successful. Gary Kubiak, in a sense, is an offensive-minded coach.
Right.
He is.
Yeah.
He had the West Coast scheme. He also had Peyton Manning, whatever. But you brought in a guy like Wade Phillips, and we still seen successful defense. This is the day and age where you have to have your head coach and your offensive coordinator be on the modern side of football. We have to run there's these new offenses. The college game is coming more and more into the NFL, over and over again. These awkward formations, these things run out of the pistol where you have a running back and you don't know where the ball is going to go. You got wings and tight ends and hands off to them. It's coming. The creativity is coming from the college to the NFL. This bootleg offense is not successful. It's old school. It's not. Defenses have seen it for 50 years.
So, if you're Vic Fangio, you're what, 62, I think?
Yeah, he's up there.
62, 63. This can't be fun for him. He's probably aged in 5 years in the last 2 years. And that's what doing a head coach does, just the stress and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
And if you're being told by somebody how you're going to run your game plans and things like that, what do you think the chances are that he just steps down at the end of the year?
It's not impossible. I mean, it's not impossible. I say it's unlikely. I mean, you're getting paid a head coach money to coach a team that kind of sucks, and it sucks. I
Yeah.
mean, it's good money. Um, and I mean, I think we've had this comparison over and over again. John Elway doesn't bring in guys who could be game changers.
No, John Elway brings in guys who are going to listen to him.
John Elway brings in obedient and complacent coaches who are
Right.
okay. This is how it was proposed to Vic on the day that he was hired. We will give you your defense. You have full control over whatever you want to do with that defense.
Mm-hmm.
But offense is Elway's. Offense is mine.
Right.
And that's why we seen the shift.
Why do you think Shanahan's not here?
Yeah, exactly. That's why we don't see any of these guys who want control over. So Elway doesn't want to let go of two things. He doesn't want to let go of how the offensive scheme that he's wanted to run since 1900, 100 years ago, it feels like. And he doesn't want to let go of the player personnel. He doesn't want to give that off to the analytics team or to the head coach. He wants to draft players that he wants. And it's his way or no way. And we've seen it bite us in the behind more and more. Even with you just mentioned, the Chubb pick. There was two better players who fit the scheme and need that we needed. We had Shaq Barrett on that roster. Would have cost us a little bit of money that following season. Probably, but it wouldn't have been. But you would have been able to sign him that season rather than, that offseason. You could have signed him that offseason before he has that breakout year and got the $18 million or whatever it was he got for that 1 year. Or no, he got signed by Tampa Bay for $3.5 million for 1 year.
Yeah, right.
1 year. You could have signed him to 4 years, that $4 million, give him half guaranteed, and it wouldn't even have cost you anything. But we wasted it on raw potential and Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb is great. He
is great, but
he wasn't
our need. Yeah. He wasn't our need. That was John Elway's little, this shiny little toy I want on defense. Because John Elway, after we got destroyed by Seattle in the Super Bowl, John Elway made the comment that we'll never get beat like that again. And so he started just investing everything on the defensive side and let the offensive side go to crap. And then he had a chance to fix it, and he passed on two quarterbacks that were sitting there at number 5.
And I
to
wouldn't
get another asset for his defense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even argue that Josh Allen was the right pick. You had Quentin Nelson staring at you in the face. Quentin Nelson has been the best player out of that draft. 100% consistent, never failed, healthy, no durability issues, smart player. You want to talk about a leadership quality? That was what they were claiming they were going after. Quentin Nelson was the pick, and we missed it.
Yeah, and that is true. I mean, Quentin Nelson may have been even a better pick, but now you look at Josh Allen and you look where we're at, and just to see that today had to just be a kick in the gut to Bronco fans as to why are we struggling so bad to get somebody in here who can play quarterback in the NFL.
And I think I know why we'd pass on Josh Allen. I do. He would have been a better fit for the scheme, sure, but we knew that he wouldn't be 100% successful in the scheme, and there was going to have to be some modifications to kind of include those run plays. Elway wants nothing to do with that. No RPO, none of that crap. He doesn't want that here. It's not his style. But we passed on Josh Allen because he's stubborn. He's hard-headed, and he knows what he's good at, and he's not going to change. And he's kind of said that. He's like, I know who I am. I know what I'm good at, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's why Dabble said, you know what? You're right. We see you kicking behind over here doing these things. Mm-hmm. Let's change it. Elway wouldn't have been willing to play into his strengths. So he knew that what's the point of wasting my time on this first-round pick? I'm going to catch all this slack, and this guy's not going to change into what I want him to be.
So I want to go back to this right here. This question that came up earlier, and do we draft a QB at the first pick now? And you said no.
No, it would be.
Are you still saying that our number one priority is secondary help or right tackle, maybe?
No, I mean, based off of need alone, secondary, you just have no depth. So yes, so cornerback would be my priority.
So I'm going to say this: you can't win in the NFL without a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what if Drew Lock is not the person? Then why are you just going to skip over quarterbacks again?
Because
Yeah.
always
When you can pick up another cornerback in the second round, or you got some players that you could trade back into the first round.
because there's not a quarterback in this year's draft that even comes close to fitting in the system that Elway wants to run. Zach Wilson's going to be the one, but there's a chance he's gone as soon as pick 4.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is the only quarterback in this draft class that can run a West Coast offense. But we'll go back to this. He doesn't meet the height requirement. I don't think he has the size that Elway wants. He's a smaller, not as big body quarterback. He has a similar body type to Drew Lock. But Zach Wilson is the smartest quarterback, probably second smartest quarterback in this draft. I mean, Trevor Lawrence would be perfect. He could run any system you want. He really can. But that's not a possibility.
Yeah, we're not moving up to number 1. There's no way.
No, no, Elway's gonna go back into what Elway does best. I'm gonna invest in a veteran. I don't have time to mold these guys into what I want them to be. And they're, I hate. We'll go off generations. My generation, where these guys are, well, you could even argue it's the next generation now. They're flamboyant, they're flashy, they're cocky, they're progressive. Elway doesn't want to waste his time with someone who thinks they're the best already.
Right.
He's not. So I don't think he does. I think, and you know what? Knowing Elway, he's gonna screw up, and he's not gonna take a cornerback there. He's gonna draft someone like Rousseau out of Miami, another edge rusher. That's my thought. Because Von's not going to be here because I think Von's tired of dealing with this poor management. I think
Von
might.
If you're Von Miller, do you want to come back here?
I think he does because he owes it to the community and the fan base. I think he feels that he owes that to us. I don't think he feels that he owes it to management. But he technically this is his last year. So I mean, does he kind of just take an off year and just say, hey, you know what? Next year I'll ride this out so it doesn't look like I'm the bad guy.
Well, and does Denver even exercise his option? They don't have to.
No, because I think I was going to invest in a quarterback.
Right. So Von's probably going to be gone anyway because they're, like you said, if he's going to chase a quarterback, then he's going to need that money to sign a Matt Stafford or a Matt Ryan or whatever, 12 or 13 year veteran who hasn't won much of anything in the NFL, to bring him in and they're going to be the savior. We're not one player away from a championship. And John Elway doesn't get that. He thinks we are. He thinks all we need is a quarterback and we're winning a championship. And I hate to say it, I don't think we're there yet. And he's
always still stuck in the revamp versus rebuild, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
And he's gonna delay the inevitable of drafting a real future quarterback, and stop playing this game that he's been playing pretty much since since Manning's retired. It's just been a carousel. So, all right. I don't know how much more we could beat this dead horse.
Yeah. I'll just leave it like this. We just felt Locke was failed today. His teammates knew that it was failed today. And, let's see where it goes. Maybe we see Shermer go against the grain like Skangs did last year. Yeah. Even though he knows it
goes out with the blaze of glory or something.
Yeah, and I will say this: look at Scangarello. Look how successful he's out there in Cleveland right now. Look at the work he's done with Baker Mayfield this year. Him and Stefanski have put in the work, and look at the changes with Baker.
So if John Elway would have swallowed his pride,
we could be in a whole different boat right now. We could be looking at 7 or 8 wins, right, or 8 or 9 wins right now. Maybe if we continue to play into the strengths of Drew.
I mean, we're sorry if this seems negative. I mean, it was a negative. If you're still out there, whoever sent in this comment, I mean, let us know what positive you saw out of today's game.
Yeah, I could not give you one positive today.
I can't either.
Other than, you know what? Yes, I can.
Melvin Gordon.
There you go.
That's the only positive I'll give you.
He didn't get his heart showed today.
Right.
His heart and determination to be that bell cow show today. I'll give him credit.
I mean, I'm sorry if we seem negative, but and we've always said this, and this is sort of the way we are over here at Rocky Mountain Sports Report. we're going to tell it the way it is. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're not going to be a bunch of fanboys, and just paint the picture like everything's fine here, because things aren't fine. I mean, look at this organization is in such chaos right now.
The main thing is, guys, this is frustrated. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be upset. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you any less of a fan. It doesn't make you any better of a fan. We all have different views. But the one thing that I think all of us can agree on is that this isn't one season. This isn't 2 seasons. This is 5 consecutive seasons. 5 consecutive seasons of just complete.
No playoffs.
It's not even. Even that.
Losing.
Yeah, but it's 5 consecutive where we still don't have a direction.
Right.
I think a lot of us would be okay if we just felt we had a direction. But now at the conclusion of as we're getting ready to wind down at the end of the season, we still you heard Stink and Adam today say this only opened up more quarterback questions.
Right.
We don't have a direction. I think that's why we're frustrated. I think that so I don't think it's a negativity. I think it's just
it's frustration.
It's just over time.
I apologize if it comes off as being negative. I mean, I love the Broncos. I've been a Bronco fan for over 45 years. I want to see the Broncos win. But it's just under current management, we're not heading in the right direction. So
yeah, and we thank Elway for the Super Bowls, the appearance, and the championship. But not everything's built to last forever, and I think that's just kind of where we're at right now.
I agree. So. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get off here because I don't really have.
No, I don't have anything right now either.
And there's no more beating a dead horse,
Yeah. Let's review what happens over the next couple of days, and we'll have another chat. Maybe we'll see some positive stuff come out. Maybe there's some stuff that we just don't know yet, and we'll touch base on it on Wednesday.
Yep, definitely. So we'll see y'all Wednesday, 6:30 for War Room Wednesday. So have a good night. Thanks.
And always go Broncos, guys. No matter what. Always go Broncos.